Well, hey there. I'm just walking back from the movie theater. Figured I'd go see a movie after work. The thing I've been doing lately is just not checking the show times at all, just going to the movie theater and seeing how that works out. And so far, it's not worked out too bad, actually. I did, what day was that? I think that was Friday last week. I think it was Friday last week. I saw Wicked 2. I like the first one better. I think all the good songs were in the first one, to be honest. But I didn't think it was bad. The movie I saw tonight was Avatar 3. The only reason I hadn't seen it sooner was I never saw number 2. And so I'm a little bit lost. There's a character or two that was dead in the first movie that are now essentially resurrected in one form or another, which does include Sigourney Weaver now being the Avatar Jesus. I don't know how much. Well, I'll elaborate on that as I go, but I'm just wondering when James Cameron is like, Sigourney, Ripley, how would you like to come back for some more Avatar movies? And now you're top notch. You got like all the primo magic powers. And you get to be like a teenage reincarnation of yourself, or daughter clone thing of yourself. What do you think of that? Immaculate conception, James Cameron style. Oh man, I was watching this show, Future Man, on Netflix. It's a little hit and miss. It's one of those less is more kind of shows where the farther you get into it, you're kind of wondering what the fuck are they, like, what's the point of this? But they have this really funny thing where James Cameron has like a super intelligent smart house, and they're breaking into his house. And this artificial intelligence has been tormented by James Cameron, getting the AI to read him all sorts of stuff in the Na'vi language. It's funny. It's funny stuff. And then a character does end up murdering James Cameron later on for that very reason, and doing so alters the timeline drastically because they made sure that James Cameron is an integral part to the future, even though they kind of make him sound like, at one point they literally refer to him as a supervillain. It's really funny. But we're talking about other stuff now. I just had to bring it up because James Cameron and all the Na'vi. There was like, he does go pretty heavy with the Na'vi. It's like even the ending credits are like, was it the ending credits? At one point in time, there's just a bunch of music that's just all like Na'vi, and it's like, oh, that's a nice little touch, you know. But it's like, it's really weird what they decide to translate and what not to translate. Like, there's the whale creatures that are like very intelligent, but they'll have the interpreter, and he'll say what the whale's saying, or he'll do like the hand signs back to him to communicate with them, but then they just have subtitles, and it's just like, it's really nice when they just have subtitles because it really cuts through the bullshit, you know. but I mean, it was a really nice scene with the council and everybody communicating and going through the ritual of communication. It was neat, but I couldn't help but get the feeling that it was like, this is sort of filler, isn't it? Like, it's not really filler, it's important to the story, but when you have other little scenes where it's just like, subtitle, motherfucker, and it's like, oh, wow, well, that was way faster than the scene you just had a second ago. That really sticks out to me. I'll just kind of bounce back between Wicked 2 and Avatar 3, since I just saw Wicked 2 not that long ago, and it's still pretty fresh in my mind. Okay, it's got to be said, and I'm not like trying to body shame anybody or anything like that, but Glinda, eat a fucking sandwich, Glinda. Like, holy shit, you're way too skinny. Like, you are scary skinny. And I don't want to be on people's asses about their body types and things like that, but I'm worried for you, girl. Like, you did a great job in your role and the singing and everything, but it was I'm not gonna lie, it was a little distracting. Like, when a girl's a little too skinny, you might see her ribs at the side. You can see her ribs at the front, like from her chest. And it's like, holy shit. Like, I'm just trying to escape to the magical land of Oz and not worry about, life and all the harsh things of reality. And then staring yourself in the face, you're just wondering, like, man, did she feel like she had to do this for the role? Did somebody force her to do this? Are the people behind the scenes just as upset as everybody else and they wish that she put on a few pounds? Is she sick and I'm being an asshole and I shouldn't be drawing attention to it? Like, I'm sorry. It's like, I want to just talk about the movie, but as you're watching the movie, that's really all that's on my mind every time she's on screen. It's like, oh, Jesus, girl, you are too skinny. Yeah, I'll just try not to make the whole fucking video me going, oh my God, Glinda's too skinny. Because that just sounds mean. And I'm sure she worked very hard on her role to the point that her weight loss, if it is as significant as I think it is, that could be a result of her overworking herself or pushing herself a little too hard. Not necessarily she's trying to starve herself, but, you work yourself to the bone is an expression, like the body eats away if you work yourself too hard. And so maybe she just tried a little too hard. Because, the singing is perfect. Everything's perfect. It's funny. She has this perfect, I'm stuck up and I'm perfect, but she's not a bitch about it. Somehow she's, the character you shouldn't like, but she's actually nice. She just happens to be I'm perfect and I've worked very hard to be perfect, and that's just who she is. And you don't blame her for that. You don't, and that's not just a commentary on the character. It's a commentary on the actress itself. You don't hate her for being in this role. You don't hate her for possibly doing damage to herself just to make sure she thinks she's perfect for this role. You were already perfect. If you felt you had to change, I'm not being a perv and be like, oh, you're beautiful, you're perfect, I love you. I'm saying you were fine just the way you were. And I feel in the first Wicked, I didn't notice your physique that much. And so it's not a commentary on how hard you worked. It's a commentary on me being worried. And when you worry, sometimes you stop caring. And I'm sorry about that. I shouldn't just worry. But take care of yourself. But yeah, since we brought the mood down, focusing on something that's not really plot relevant or anything in the movie, I'll say giving all the backstory to the characters was hilarious. Because it was so bad. Everyone's backstory is moronic, except for Alphaba. Hers is deep, and it connects to the wizard, and it's oh wow, that's cool. Alphaba has good stuff added to her backstory. But okay, her sister's supposed to be the Wicked Witch of the East. She essentially casts one frickin' spell, and she fucks it up real bad, and half creates the Tin Man. She was gonna kill him because she cast a spell to take a guy's heart, and it was gonna be very literal, and he was gonna die. And so Alphaba is well, I made him so he didn't need a heart, and that's how he becomes the Tin Man. It was kind of like a what do you call it? What am I looking for here? Leading the wagon with the horse, or leading the horse with the wagon kind of situation, because they made it so that no heart thing was the beginning, not just a side effect of the spell or whatever. It was the whole point. It all happened. But anyways, she's only the Wicked Witch to the east because she's Elphaba's sister, and maybe because she cast that one spell. Because in Wizard of Oz, the fucking house lands on a witch, and they steal her shoes. But it's so much worse in this because it's like girl in a wheelchair who actually isn't all that nice of a person. It does really make you not have any sympathy for it. Like, you don't give a shit that she's in that wheelchair. Like, you're just like, yeah, she's just kind of a fucked up person. And you don't really feel bad for her at all. Like, she's racist, and she's trying to control a man into loving her who doesn't love her. And he's like a nice guy, and he's a little bit insensitive to her feelings, but he also, like, makes legitimate efforts to, like, be nice to her and stuff. And he's the one who gets turned into the Tin Man. And it's hilarious. He's like, for some reason, they lock him in a room. And I only say that because there's no reason for him to chop this door down. But it's like, it's the scene from The Shining just about, where it's like, oh my God, there's a monster with an axe hacking through the door. And here he comes, and he's like, what did you do to me? And it's like, oh my God, is he actually going to hack this girl in a wheelchair to death right now? And it's hilarious. It's so funny. Like, that was the main reason I had to see this movie, was because I've seen people take clips of the old Tin Man and the new Tin Man, and it's like, toot toot is the old one, and then the new one is like, and I'm glad I have no heart, it's all the better for killing her. And it's like, this is hilarious, this is so funny. And it's even funnier when you realize that he was a munchkin that was like just destroyed by magic, and he's totally misled into, basically he wants to kill the woman who saved his life, because that's what happened. Elphaba saved his life. And she just gets, oh yeah, her sister's like, I don't want to be hacked to death. It was Elphaba. Like, holy shit. Like, you don't even really, like, yeah, she's a bitch for doing that. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, he had murder in his eyes. Like, you say whatever the fuck you want to get that guy away from you. Like, Tin Man is scary, and it's so funny. And now getting to the other characters. The only one who doesn't get a backstory is fucking Dorothy. Which is funny, because I think in the original book she actually has like a really complicated, isn't she like a lost princess or something, or is that something else? I don't know. A Wizard of Oz lore goes deep. I don't know nothing, man. But well, there's been a lot of weird adaptations of Oz. I've already forgotten a bunch of their names, to be honest. Yeah, there's a lot of wizards. Remember the one with was it James Franco played the wizard? That one was pretty good, I thought. But anyways, back to Wizard of Oz, or all the other, I'll just kind of run through all the different backstories on the classic crew. The Cowardly Lion is cowardly because he was saved in the first movie, and it's one of those misinterpretation of a good deed. She lets the lion go so he will learn to speak and be like all the other animals. And he's upset because you let me out of the only home that I knew. That cage was the only home that I knew. And it's like, oh my God, that's stupid. That's really fucking stupid. Okay, you fit right in. And so the lion is kind of like the least notable out of all of them because he's just a CGI lion. I think it would have been better if it was just a guy in a suit, to be honest. I think we need to see more of that. Like, just like, say, fuck it, I want to dress a person up again. There's furries all over the fucking place. What's wrong with that? Anyways, Scarecrow gets, like, the best backstory because Glinda has this boy toy. And he kind of like had eyes for Elphaba in the first one. I don't remember exactly how close they got, but they were like, hey, yeah, like we're both the moral, outstanding people in this world. And it was like Glinda wasn't a bad person either, so I didn't really feel like he was forced into hooking up with Glinda in the first one, but they really hammered in the second one where it's like, oh yeah, by the way, we're engaged now. And it's like, oh, this is fucked up. I don't remember Glinda controlling other people in the first one, but he just gets roped in with everything. But anyways, yeah, because they're gonna like fuck him up real bad because he was working with Elphaba and the wizard, and he was one of the oh, what the fuck did they even call him? They had a name for the guys. Whatever, the soldiers for the wizard. Because he was one of their soldiers, he was like their head guy, pretty much. Face of the whole thing. He betrayed them and like held up Glinda with a gun. And it's like, I'm gonna blow this bitch's brains out if you don't let Elphaba go. And it's like, holy shit. But, yeah. Because they were gonna like beat him to death or they crucified him is very much the implication. Because that's how they find the Scarecrow. Yes, that's who he is. The Scarecrow is now the badass prince or whatever. I felt like he had a royal title in the first one, but maybe I just imagined that because he's pretty much Prince fucking Charming. Rock and roll. Like when people honk, you know, it's good moods. Good moods, especially on Christmas time. But yeah, yeah, Scarecrow is created because they're crucifying this guy, and Elphaba is like, well, I'll just make him invincible so they can't fucking kill him. And so that's the Scarecrow, I guess. Yeah. I kind of knew the twist at the end because I don't know why, because there's this whole like superstition thing that it's like, Elphaba's so evil that all it takes is pure water and she'll melt. But at no point in time was it established she can't touch water. Like, I knew that was coming. I was like, oh, well, that's just superstition. That's like propaganda. And she's going to use that. And, yeah, that's exactly what fucking happens. But there must have been a secret conversation with Dorothy for this whole thing to work out. Otherwise, it doesn't make any fucking sense. A little bit of sense. There is a really funny part where Elphaba basically calls out Glinda for giving away a dead person's shoes. And she doesn't really have an answer. She's just like, that girl needed help. And it's like, yeah, but did she need a dead person's shoes? Are you sure about that? And they could have even justified it. Because Glinda doesn't have magic. And those shoes, the slippers, the diamond or ruby slippers, depending on what's happening in the scene, they were, like, Elphaba casts magic on her sister while she's wearing these shoes. So you could pull some mumbo jumbo and say, these shoes are magic because they were involved in a magic spell. But they didn't even bother with that shit. It was just like, those are my sister's shoes. Give me back my sister's shoes, you grave robber. It's funny. Yeah. I'll go back to the wizard. Keep on the Wizard of Oz. I'll go back to Wicked for Good. But back to Avatar, since I just saw that. Like I was saying, there's some people are back from the dead. And so the evil army guy from the first one, who died a really satisfying death, and I'm really disappointed they brought him back because he was a dick in the first one, and it's really awesome to see him die being shot by arrows that are like just huge arrows, because they're big people, the Na'vi. They're like bigger than we are, so their arrows are like forking huge. So when he gets hit by these arrows, they're like these big, huge fucking spears sticking out of his chest. And, yeah, they call back to that a little bit. It's pretty much, well, I don't want to jump right to the end. But, yeah, they have a recreation of that scene because now he's back. And I think that happened in the last movie that I missed. Is he's back and now he's an avatar. Or a Na'vi. Well, an avatar. Well, not technically because no one's controlling it. They like cloned him into a Na'vi body. I missed the explanation for how the fuck they did that, but there was probably some interesting explanation for that. Also, they brought some other guy back from the dead. I don't remember him. Maybe he died in the second one. Maybe he died in the first one. I do not remember him, but he's like, oh, I don't want to die again. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess he died. It's been a few years since I've seen the first Avatar. It's a good movie. I never got around to seeing the second one. I remember when we were all in the soup kitchen, somebody there had it set up on their laptop. But then, technology is the way it is. Couldn't get that fucking movie working to hook up onto the TV for everybody to see. And so we just said, fuck it. And it didn't happen. But there's a lot of cool stuff in this movie. They got this whole religious angle that's not, like, it's been done worse, it's been done better. Like, there's a part where Jake is like, so, where was Awa today? We kind of got our asses kicked there. Like, and then his wife is like, right now, all I got is my faith. And then Jake is kind of like, yeah, but you also have your family and stuff. Like, it does bother me sometimes when religious people do that, when they say that religion is the only thing they got, when that can be true, but they often have other things in their life, like a family. So it's like, yeah, I kind of get where everybody's coming from in that scene. But at the same time, it's kind of meant to be heavy-handed, because it's like there's a physical god essentially inhabiting the planet that's established pretty solidly as to being a thing that definitely exists. So even if you're like a hardcore atheist, you gotta be like, yeah, but the Na'vi actually have something going there, like their brain's literally hooked to the horse's brain. It's not like my spirit and your spirit are intertwined. I mean, that's what they're going for. But it's like, no. Like, ka-chunk. Like, physical connection. Like, those things are connected. It's a real thing. I see. They kind of imply you can connect your senses to the animal senses. And they use that very interestingly in this movie. And there's a lot of implications there. Because it's also how two people, or two, I guess you can just say two people, because now there's at least one human who has a, can't remember what they're called, a brain tail. Yeah. And so people interact, they can hook their brains together and be like, whoa, we're doing a mind meld. Or we're having sex, I'm not really sure. They never actually do establish whether you actually have to have sex on top of the hair-brain connection thing, or if that is the sex. Because they make that joke on The Big Bang Theory where it's like, well, they hook it into the lady, but then they also hook it into the horses. And so, yeah. And going on that same train of thought, there is a character in this third movie who forcibly connects with other characters, brain to brain, and it's shown like a perversion of this spiritual connection where she uses it to hurt people, and it kind of does establish her as a powerful being, because like nobody can stand up to her brain touch. It's like, nah, once her brain touch, I fuck your brain up bad, and it's like, yeah, she's pretty good at it. But then later on, Minnie Sigourney Weaver does it on her, and she's like way better at it. She's like, yeah, I got the Force better than you do. And yeah, because she's Jesus. Can't fuck with Jesus. Not in this James Cameron verse, he can't. This is the savior Sigourney Weaver here to fucking call the other chick a bitch, which you always have to question is the reference to Aliens every time Sigourney Weaver says the word bitch. I'm not lying, I have to honestly consider that. Maybe. Could have so easily had her say, "Get away from her, you bitch," because her mother was being attacked. So they wouldn't even have to change the line like they did in Paul. It could have just been the same line. But they didn't do that. But they did have her call her a bitch. And I'm like, is that a reference? Yeah, we can call it a reference. It's James Cameron, Sigourney Weaver, and the word bitch. Yeah. There's a really sad scene that I felt like would have been very easily remedied. Like, they get attacked when they're using the, I don't know what the hell they are, sky jellyfish air balloon things. And, well, basically they blow up the big sky ship, and there's like these other creatures that towed the sky ship. And it's like, this thing's going down, and this floating animal thing is like getting drugged down into the flames. And it's like, oh, he's jumping on the thing. I thought for sure he's going to go and unhook it and like save this thing from dying. And it's like, no, he just jumps off of it and saves his own ass. And it's like, why? Like, I understand not everything is going to make it out in every scene, but it was like, why not just have him unhook that one animal? It would have been such a simple scene. It was all right there. That bothered me. I think it bothered me because at the beginning of the movie, there's this intro, or no, maybe it was just a preview for the movie. You know, when you watch a movie and there happens to be a preview for the same movie you're watching in that movie, or before the movie. And so it has James Cameron talking about Avatar 3. And he's like, oh, I couldn't tell you my favorite part because if there was a part that wasn't my favorite, I cut it out. And so that leads me to believe that he thought everything was perfect. And that leads me to believe that he's like, no, it's better if the creature dies pointlessly. It makes the scene perfect. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, don't tell me it's perfect. If I, like, you tell me something's perfect, I'm gonna, like, nitpick it harder. I think that's only fair. But yeah. Yeah, anyways, the villain chick who's hooking up with the army dude, or the Na'vi clone of the army dude, her whole thing is like fire. And she's essentially like what you would call like the Satanist of Pandora. I forgot what the planet was called. Pandora. Because her whole thing is everybody was dependent on the trees and Awa and all that. But then fire came and burned down all the fucking trees. And that probably fucked up their connection to Mother Nature, essentially. Because all the Mother Nature was dead. But she embraced the symbolism of the fire. And she rejects Awa because when everybody was in need, asking for help, nobody fucking answered. And so she took it the other way, that we're not being rejected by Awa, is we reject Awa. And so, yeah, that's kind of her whole thing. And they don't really, because it was, the thing is, everybody was dying because there was no supplies, because everything burned down. So I don't really understand how you use fire to get out of that situation. But somehow she did it. So she must be really fucking smart. Like, because like, I just don't see how the math works out there. Maybe she used war and fire to steal from other tribes or something. That kind of makes sense. Yeah, there we go. That would be a explanation there. As much as I didn't like that they brought back the army guy, he's a pretty fucking likable villain. Like, I think all the laughs were from him. And I'm struggling to think of one, but I know there's a couple. Oh yeah, like when he goes into Fire Lady's camp to like negotiate, there's this guy, like after he's tied up, and there's this guy poking him with a spear, and he's like, I got my eye on you, and it's like, yeah, he's got an attitude, and it's a lot of fun. And there's a part where he gets drugged because he's chatting with Fire Lady, and they go into her hut, and she blows some magic powder up his nose, and he's basically like, that's some strong shit right there. And they basically have a coming together kind of thing, where they're both bad guys, but they're mutual spirits. Like, they're a great couple. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like them better than Jake and Neytiri, because Neytiri was like a bummer most of the movie, but her kid just died in the last one, as far as everyone was talking about. Again, something I missed. But she comes around. She's just like pretty angry and racist for a good part of the movie. Neytiri is. But at the same time, it's like you're in the middle of a war, and a lot of people you know have been murdered by the evil human invaders, and then Jake is like, I'm human, and do you hate our kids too because they're part human? And she kind of says yes, but then they don't really resolve that all that much. It's just kind of like, fuck it, family's more important, and everything is more important. And our son has the blood of the elders in him and their strength and all that shit. And it's heartwarming. I mean, it's a 3.5 hour long fucking movie. It better be heartwarming. Better get something done. But yeah, there's also there's a human who's working with the Sully family, and for the first part of the movie, he's like dead meat, dead weight, because he's got to wear this mask all the time, and he's always just about dead. And then at one point, he loses his backup mask, and then he's just gonna suffocate. And so Sigourney Jesus communes with nature and uses the mycelium in the ground to hack, I think his name is Spider, to hack the human's body so he can breathe Pandora's atmosphere, which is cool. But Jake is freaking out because he's like, oh no, the humans can reverse engineer this, and this could make it so the humans can breathe on Pandora. And it's like, he's right. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I almost wonder if it was like too many plot points going on in the movie. Because you're trying to keep track of the fact that, they're hunting the whales. And that was probably a plot point that was explained in the second one. Because I have no idea what the fuck is going on. I'm like, what happened to unobtainium? Wasn't unobtainium important? But fuck unobtainium. They obtained the unobtainium. Or they're like, it's too unobtainable. Why would we want that? But either way, they don't give a shit about it anymore. And now they're getting resources out of the super smart whale creatures. And so it's a destruction of cultures. It's a environmental issue. It's everything. It's all these issues kind of smashed together. And it's one of those things, at one point I got kind of sad because I realized that the first Avatar movie is based on the oil sands here in Alberta. And not a lot of people realize that. And it should have been this really, because Avatar is this huge fucking movie, like the biggest fucking movie of its time. And it doesn't even, like, people were like, what's James Cameron doing in the native communities? What's the movie director doing over there? And it's like, he was trying to raise awareness of all the environmental damage that Canada was doing to itself. And everyone's like, well, what's James Cameron doing over here? And it's like, fucking listen to David Suzuki. He'll fucking tell you. Like, fuck. But anyways, I was just sad because it was like, you make these big movies and you want to, like I do that with my sci-fi stories, where it's like you want to relate things to real life issues and you want to get people's attention, but it doesn't mean that shit's actually going to change. Just because you make 100 movies explaining how humans can be evil and do evil things, will anybody learn from it? Like, I remember watching the first Avatar movie, and my boss comes up to me, and he says, you know, that army guy in the first movie, I would want him to be on my side. And all I'm thinking is like, oh, you want the evil motherfucker who just like kills innocent beings? That's who you want on your side? Oh, well, he didn't say it, but he's like, the implication was, well, he's a real good army guy. And you want a good army guy. It's like, I want a moral army guy. Like, that's why Superman, depending on what version you're looking at, a good version of Superman embodies how important it is to, like, not hurt people or hurt things unless it's completely unavoidable. And it's such a simple concept that's impossibly hard to accomplish. But it is something. But I do get the implication of like, yeah, and especially I was thinking what my boss was thinking in this movie was like, you know, army guy, now that he's like communed with nature a little bit and got laid, I dig it. Like, he's pretty fun. And he's pretty hardcore. But I don't like him because he's a good army guy. Like, he is a good army guy. But I like him because he's a dad. And he's like this clone reincarnation thing who doesn't know what he is. But he thinks he does. He thinks he knows what he is. He thinks he's just the army guy. Or the Marines, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. I really liked his character, and I thought for sure he was getting the end credit scene. Like, I waited through all the long ass credits, and there's a hilarious part in the credits where you see all like the different names, and there's a billion names because all the different fucking people that worked on this movie. But there's like this small little chunk of the credits that just says live action, and it's like like the smallest part of the movie is the live action, which makes sense because the only live action in it is a few random human beings walking around, and for the most part all the human beings are covered in so much CG, like they got the mech suits. And the guy's got a fake robot arm. It's like, these people aren't fucking real. None of this shit is real. This is all bullshit. But there are some human beings every now and then. But for the most part, everything you see is fake. Totally fake. And so, that was maybe the best part of the whole movie. Even though it was a pretty good movie. That was just so funny. Just such a dose of reality right there. The fact that the reality is in such small doses. Oh, it's late. You know, I've been chatting for 39 minutes and it's quiet out. You know, it's late and it's cold. Nobody wants to be partying on a cold-ass night like tonight. Everybody's got one more work day. Well, I don't know if everybody does, but I got one more work day, and then it's Christmas time. But, It was a 3.5-hour fucking movie. I feel like there should be more to talk about. Oh yeah, one detail I really liked was there's this freaky crossbow thing, and it's like I think the water people made it. I'm not sure who made it, but it's a Na'vi weapon, and then a human being has to use it, and he can shoot the fucking thing no problem because it's a crossbow. Like, it's not a complicated weapon. Not a complicated weapon to fire. But then he's got to load this fucking crossbow. And he's got to use his scrawny little human arms to load this big fucking Na'vi weapon. And he can't do it right away. He's got to really fucking work at it to get this bolt loaded. And it's like, I like that detail. That's a good detail. I appreciate that. And, yeah. I never really got the impression that it was such a big deal. Well, I guess it makes sense, because they want to kill Jake in this. They want to, like, execute him. And it's like, I didn't really get that implication that they were, like, on the hunt for him, but it makes sense after the first movie. I don't know what the temperature is right now. It's pretty fucking cold, though. Whoa, that guy is just sliding all over. Yeah. I'll go back to Wicked 2 for a little bit there. I'm trying to think of any of the songs. Sure, I can think of something. Maybe they weren't that fucking memorable if I can't think of them, and it hasn't even been a week. Oh yeah, let's talk about how weird they were in the fucking interviews. Wasn't that weird? Wasn't that a weird fucking thing? After I went on my whole screed about being concerned, maybe I should have been more concerned about that whole thing. What the fuck was going on there? It's like, wouldn't it just be a pleasant surprise if it was like they were gay? It'd be like, oh, cool. That's so much more normal than whatever the fuck you were doing. Like, just fuck already. But no, it seems so much weirder than that. But if it turns out they are a couple, I think they would make a cute couple. I mean, that was not the implication in the movie by any means. But they do have a scene where both characters do say they love each other. And I know it's more of the magic of friendship kind of thing, but couldn't help but thinking that was for people who were like, yes, I told you, they're gay. Oh yeah, I did like... because there is another witch, the head of the magic school there. Because Alphaba is like pretty much the main magic person. But the head of the magic school, she's got a lot going on. And she works for the wizard. And so the house that sends Dorothy to Oz and fucking kills Alphaba's sister, it wasn't an accident. And it's like, oh, that's fun. Like, give everything a backstory, even the fucking tornado. Like, that's fun. And then that's another thing that Alphaba like totally calls out, when Glinda's like, it was a horrible accident. And it's like, what are you talking about? A house fell out of the sky. And it's like, yeah, that is kind of hard to believe that just happened. But yeah, they kind of have the whole adventure with Dorothy and them just kind of happening in the background. Oh, I do love... Okay. There's so many things that just doesn't make sense in the original story with this retelling, and that's like everything. Like, nothing makes sense. It's like, Tin Man is a murderous psychopath who wants to kill the witch. Okay, fine. Scarecrow is secretly the witch's lover, and he's not actually going to fight the witch. He's just in on the whole thing. Okay, fine. And all the baboons are like... The baboons run the story pretty good. I mean, like, they're spies for the wizard. Then they work for Alphaba. And then they work for Glinda at the end of it all. And it's like the monkeys, flying baboons or whatever, they're kings. Like, they're the best. But anyways, back to things that don't... Well, that's everything that doesn't make sense about the flying monkeys. Because they're just the most evil fucking thing in the original movie or story or whatever you're talking about. They're just evil flying monkeys. But now it's like they have backstory and they have soul and families and all this shit. And in the first movie they get a gruesome scene that shows how brutal it is to give wings to a monkey. How fucked up that would be. And it's like, yeah, that's fucked up and hilarious how much backstory they give stupid things. I love it. But anyways, in the movie Wizard of Oz, I'm pretty sure the monkeys fuck up the Scarecrow pretty bad, don't they? Don't I remember a part where they're like, am I like misremembering that? But regardless, they should be good buddies with the fucking Scarecrow. Because he's like in on it, and they're like, no, we're really gonna sell this. Like, don't worry, buddy, we're gonna break a fucking chair over your back just so people believe you're not on our side. Wasn't he missing a brain? That's the thing that makes, like, they don't even attempt to do, is when the wizard gives everybody their bullshit. Yeah, that, like, Scarecrow, he doesn't necessarily need a brain. Tin Man doesn't need a heart. He wants to be heartless so he can kill that witch. And then who knows what happens with that, because they think they killed the witch. So is, like, he happy now, or what? Like, there's no resolution to like, most of the character stories. Like, fuck the Cowardly Lion, fuck Dorothy, fuck the Tin Man. But Scarecrow? Fucking happy ending for Scarecrow. After everything's said and done, Scarecrow walks in after Alphaba's been murdered, and he knocks on the secret trap door, and ta-da! And then it's the reveal that he's a Scarecrow, and it's like, we already knew that. It was not a reveal at all. We already figured it out. But then Alphaba and the Scarecrow walk off into the beyond lands they set up earlier on. And Glinda has the book, the Grimoire, the magic book. And she's finally figured out how to do magic. And so even though she was technically a fraud in the original story and nobody knew that, she now has magical powers. Which doesn't make any sense. Because she uses magic to take the shoes off of the dead body. And she also comes in a bubble. And yes, she has the bubble in Wicked. But she never, like, floats around in it or shrinks down. I don't think we ever see that fucking bubble move. Is it drugged by horses? I don't even remember. But it doesn't float nobody around. It just makes a bubble around her. That's all it does. Which is disappointing. Like, I didn't think I gave so much of a shit about a small good witch floating around and showing up in a bubble, but when they don't give it to you, you miss it. But yeah. Well, that was pretty much the whole walk from the movie theater back home here. I did walk away from Wicked 2 feeling pretty happy. Even though I felt like the second part wasn't as good as the first one. I did really like that whole magic of friendship feeling at the end. Where it was like, we go our separate ways, but Alphaba showed Glinda how to finally become magic. That thing that she wanted. And it's nice, you know? It's gonna get dark for a second. But yeah. Oh yeah, they have a fight between Glinda and Alphaba, which is pretty funny. Because it really does emphasize the fact that one of them is like all powerful and magical, and the other one has a big plastic wand. It's pretty much her only weapon. But it's pretty entertaining. But there is kind of a moment in the fight where Alpha was just like, I have magic. And just like floats above her. And it's like, yeah, this is not fair. Like, and she didn't start this fight. And it was like, no, Glinda's like, I'm gonna take you down, bitch. Yeah. It was a good movie. Oh, my neck is sore. Oh, that felt good. Did you hear that? I'm not sure if that recorded that cracking sound. I played it cheap tonight, and I didn't get any popcorn or hot dog or drinks, anything. I just had a pack of those golden berries I had with me from coming from work. And, well, I didn't feel like spending any more money because Christmas is coming around and I've already spent pretty much all of my money. But, it's definitely worth my fucking money because I paid $15 for a 3D movie. 3.5 hours. You know, like, people complain about movies being too long, but when movie tickets are expensive, it's just more bang for your buck. You know, that's the way I look at it. It's just better value to have a longer movie. Like, when I go to an hour-and-a-half movie or, like, 2-hour-long movie, like, I feel a little ripped off now, you know? Oh. I gotta stretch. But yeah. So I would have felt like I lost all the value of the nice long movie if I had gotten a popcorn. Because that's fucking $10. The pricing makes no sense. Like small popcorn, 8 something. Medium popcorn, $8.50. Large popcorn, $10. Why would anyone get a small popcorn? It's just a couple cents cheaper, and you get so much less. What else? Oh yeah, the whales, or what, I can't remember what they're called. The giant aquatic creatures. They're like pacifists, and so there's a part where the one creature that was willing to fight, he gets like rejected because they don't believe in violence of any kind. But he gets rejected, and he goes to find where he was birthed from. And when he goes to meet all of them, they're already dead, except for just one of them. And the one that's been scarred and injured, it only survived because it fought back. And so the rejected one and the survivor go back, even though they're not the one's not supposed to go back. And basically the kids are like, well, if he's rejected, we're rejected too. And they stand beside their aquatic brother, and it's heartwarming. And they have to stand up to their parents and the culture and everything. And it's well, you can tell they had to work at it, and it feels earned for the most part. It doesn't feel like I made the comment earlier that it kind of felt like filler, all the conversations with the water creatures, but it really isn't, because the conflict is really about them. And so for them to not be involved is, well, like so many movies where they're just mindless animals, but here they're intelligent. And I like that. That's something that was probably introduced in second one that, again, I didn't see. And I mean, I'm sure it will. I mean, there's stuff I want to know. But I do feel like a lot of it was kind of inferred or half explained in this movie. Maybe I'll pick up a trilogy one of these days. They always make good use of the bioluminescence. It's always been one of my favorite details. It's scared the cat. Meow. Yes, a guest star, the kitty cat, the real star of the channel, who gets way more subscribers than I ever would. Me, I can go months, weeks, years, barely getting any subscribers. This cat, 5 subscribers one day, no problem. It's magical. Isn't that right? Yes, you're a magical kitty cat. Your Christmas miracle. Are you gonna wish everybody a Merry Christmas? All right then. That seems like a pretty good Merry Christmas. Yeah. You're a good kitty. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think like I was saying before, I would really like the power couple of Army Guy and Fire Lady, whatever the fuck their names were. They were just really interesting, and their interactions were really interesting. Like, they're both psychos, and so it's like he goes into the village and he gets captured, and he seems like he's just there offering guns and stuff, and then he's basically like, don't hook your brain into my brain or I'll kill you. And she's like, oh, you're not going to be killing anybody. And then he's like, oh yeah? And he points at that guy, and he dies because his other buddy has a sniper rifle. And it's like, oh, okay. But then Fire Lady brings him into the hut where Sniper can't see him. And I think at one point she was talking about she was going to eat his heart or something like that, which may have been very literal. Maybe she was going to do that. But he pretty much tells her, if you want to fight God, you need my help because I got all the God-killing weapons. And she was all for that. She was like, yeah, I think I like this guy. And she did mention when she did the brain kung fu on him earlier that he was pretty strong. Like everybody gets messed up by her brain kung fu, but I guess he put up a decent amount of resistance. At least that was the implication that I got. There's characters that you can tell they're saving for the very last movie to like deal with or give them their comeuppance. Because big corporate head guy, little shithead guy from the first movie is still there. And it's like, oh wow, he's not going anywhere, is he? He's going to be around for a long time. And he kind of gets pushed around in this movie. Like, for the most part, he's like, yeah, the company runs everything. Don't talk down to me, military lady. But then when push comes to shove, all the people with military rank are going to be the ones shoving you around. Doesn't matter if head office says it's okay or not. And that seems pretty realistic. But then at the same time, everybody needs their fucking paycheck and money makes the world go round. So maybe it's not as realistic as you might think. Because, I mean, like, the whole point is whatever the other thing, do you think they got rid of unobtainium because everyone made fun of it? Even though it's a real thing? Well, okay. Unobtainium is like a term. It's like something that you can only get in very minuscule amounts. It's basically unobtainable. You'd call unobtainium. So the very fact that they found a whole bunch of it in the first movie fundamentally makes it not unobtainium, whether or not they can obtain it or not. The fact that it is obtainable in that amount makes it not unobtainium. That's just me nitpicking. Because yes, unobtainium is stupid, but everyone acts like James Cameron made it up. No, he took it from, I don't know if it's like science terminology, but it's like actual terminology. And less stupid the way they use it in science. Because it just sounds like a word for something you can't get. And that's pretty much what it means. But yeah. I got the flavored popcorn shaking stuff the last time I was at the theater. And they give you the packet so you can do it yourself. And then I never used the packet. And so now I have this packet of seasoning. And it's like, am I ever going to use this? I should have used it then. I've probably gone on this rant before, but what the fuck is with butter at the movie theater now? I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but that's not butter. And then they have 2 options of not butter. No, 3. Well, okay. If you get popcorn just the way it is, it's got a little bit of salt and butter on it. And it seems like actual butter or margarine or something. But you ask for butter, and they put something on there. I don't know what. I can believe it's not fucking butter. But they claim it's real butter, and it's like, maybe I'm just losing my mind. But then over on the condiment stand with the ketchup and everything, there's this flavored topping, butter flavored topping you can dispense there. And I'm trying to think when the last time. I know I've tried it, but that's another definition of that is not butter. But I think it might actually be a little bit better than the butter you pay for at the counter. But I think the best option a lot of times is just not getting anything on it and the butter that already comes on it. That's not that bad. That's just my opinion. I guess this whole fucking thing has been my opinion, is me rambling my opinion. I guess I should just ask the simple question, what movie is better? You know, I would say pound for pound, Avatar 3 is just a better movie because there's just a lot of entertaining stuff happening. But I think I had a happier feeling at the end of the movie for Wicked 2. So I say it almost ties in a way because I really liked that feeling at the end of Wicked 2 where it's just like, yeah, like it all kind of wrapped itself up. Glinda like gets to find her place in the world because she's kind of like a figurehead, like a puppet in the first movie. That was kind of the role she was falling into, but then she's like, no, she's got the flying monkeys at the end of the movie, and she's talking shit to her old teacher, who was the one who murdered Alphaba's sister. And yeah, but it seems like James Cameron is like, okay, you come back, Sigourney, and I'm gonna make you Jesus, and you're the next generation of Na'vi that's totally gonna hook up with Spider the human, and who knows what doors that's gonna open up, because he's already like part of the family and everything. He gets to go to Awa at twice in the movie, which is like a big step for humanity. And I think it's one of those things that it's the duality of Pandora, I guess, where everyone's so worried about humans gaining the ability to breathe on the planet, and they're ignoring the bigger picture that humans have the ability to become part of the ecosystem on the planet. Which means they could potentially live there, survive, like humanity could find a way to survive, but they could survive in harmony with Pandora, which I feel like is going to be the end game, where you can live here if you need to, but you can't take over the planet and destroy the environment. Because that's the whole thing in the first one, is Jake pleading to Awa that humans you need to fight because humans have killed their mother. And that really should be the big thing that people take away from Avatar. Is I'm sure a lot of people immediately jump to the whole white guilt and colonialism thing, which it very much should parallel. But it's just the idea that humanity could be a malicious force in the universe. Like the fact that we don't learn from our mistakes here on Earth, and we just spread out in the universe and we just spread those mistakes and problems. There's an Outer Limits episode about that, where basically the artificial intelligence on a spaceship decides that everybody's got to die for the simple reason that humanity can't go into outer space. Like, we can't spread the disease that is us into the universe. And in the end, the robot basically kind of ends up winning the conversation. But along the debate, the human being, who I think was played by Tom Paris, the guy who played Tom Paris, he brings up a picture of his daughter or a human child, and he asks the robot if he sees anything evil there or anything deserving of death there. And the machine says no. Because in that story, just like in Avatar, humans are struggling and they're reaching out to get more resources. And it's not so much, I don't think people are dying per se in Avatar, but a movie that did this idea a lot better was Battle for Terra. It's essentially dollar store Avatar that is better than Avatar. It's shorter. It's all 3D animated. There's no live action, and it's like these floaty people. They're interesting little aliens, and it's a really good movie. If you like Avatar, or if you have problems with Avatar and would like to see those ideas kind of done a little bit better, I would say, just overall, even though they're the same basic ideas, watch Battle for Terra. That is just a great movie. But in that movie, human beings aren't just going to the alien planet because they want resources. They want the unobtainium. They're going because Earth has died, basically, and we need a new home. And we're going to die if we don't find a new home. But then it has the atmosphere problem, where you can breathe or I can breathe, but we both can't. Or at least that's the implication. The human beings are going to terraform the planet, and in doing so, they're going to kill everything that lived there already. And that's a very scary idea, that even in our innocence of just wanting to survive, we might care more about our survival than somebody else, which has been proven to be true with our cultures just dealing with other human cultures. How indifferent would we be to beings that weren't even the same race as us, or from totally different origins? There's that comedy skit about the Nazis where the Nazis are like, "Are we the baddies?" like they're just like, "But we wear skulls on our uniforms." It's like they're just going over all the things that make the Nazis so evil. Like the Nazis didn't, like they just didn't see it. And it's like, oh God, I wish it was that simple. No, people see how bad they are and they embrace it. They act like it's the macho thing. Yeah. The macho thing is so often the cruel thing, the unnecessary thing. That's why it bothered me when my boss said that he wanted the army guy to be on his side. And in the end, I would want us all to be on the same side. But you want everyone to be on the same side. I want everyone to be on the same side. I want there to be no other side. No one to be merciless to, because we're all on the same side. And we're all allies. An ideal. It's seemingly impossible with all of the conflicts and problems of the world. And potentially one day other worlds. Who knows how hard it may be to bring everybody together when we don't even know if there's anybody else. But yeah, I really liked both these movies. I did want to go see The Running Man when I went to Wicked 2, but Running Man is no longer in theaters. And I feel like it had a really short run in theaters. There were 3 Stephen Kings out this year. I wanted to see 3 Stephen King movies out this year. And I wanted to see all 3, and I only managed to see one of them. And that was The Long Walk, which I never did a review on, which I really should have. Maybe, I don't know, would it be wrong to just start talking about The Long Walk now? It was quite a while ago when I saw the movie. I had an extra special experience with The Long Walk because I had just done a walk to raise awareness for suicide prevention, and that was how I planned it, was go on my walk, my 50-mile walk, and when I got back into town from the 50-mile walk, I walked to the movie theater and I saw The Long Walk. And it really had me appreciating the movie in a different kind of way. I mean, I don't know how I would have appreciated it under regular circumstances, but my feet were sure fucking sore, which was a little distracting, but it did help me kind of commune with the characters a little bit, and also tilt my head at how impossible the task would be. Like, here's the thing. It was brutal enough already. Just allow them to stop taking shit. Like, it would still be brutal, and it would still be all the commentary about military and sacrifice for your country and being in poverty and all that. You just don't need people like not wiping their ass and just about getting shot in the face because they're trying to take a shit. It's just unnecessary. Like, it was just one step too far. Because you're supposed, like, I can believe that everybody wants to be on this essentially a super game show, where if you outlast everybody else, you get a shitload of money and a wish. And I can believe that, but like, I can believe it's like, yeah, you die. I understand that. Yeah, you die if you lose. Yeah, I understand. You walk hundreds of miles and you don't get to sleep. Yeah, I get that. But then when it comes around to, oh yeah, you only have a couple seconds to take a shit, and if you take too long, they shoot you in the head. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like you would have a hard time filling this roster with just that one detail. Like, I feel like everything else is doable, but that one detail is a little much. I'll do a whole video on it later, but I'm just going to leave it at that. My name is Joseph Arthur Rizal. You might know me as Captain Canada. Thank you for watching. I want to wish you all luck in the world. I want you to know that I love you. I want you to know that suicide is never the answer. Peace out.